Good morning, I'm Sandra Kaiser. I'm a professional diplomat working here at the American Embassy in London, here on a beautiful day in Grosvenor Square, talking to Richard LeBaron, who serves here as our chargé d'affaires at the American Embassy in London. What exactly is a chargé d'affaires anyway? Why do we use the French?
Well, Sandra, thanks for having me today to talk about that. It's a fancy French term for the person that actually is in charge temporarily while we don't have an ambassador.
Oh, okay.
And since the Obama administration came into office in January, they're in the process of choosing new ambassadors for embassies in London and a variety of other posts around the world.
Aha. So you're here basically in charge of the embassy while that process is taking place?
That's correct. I'm a career diplomat. I worked for the previous ambassador, and now I represent the U.S. government's interests and lead the embassy on a temporary basis until we have a new ambassador installed.
Okay, it sounds like a really big job. How exactly does one become an ambassador anyway?
Well, it's a complicated process and it takes a little while. And let me talk about it in relation to this post and probably what's going on in Washington right now in relation to the assignment to London and to other major posts around Europe and the world. The president decides on a particular person for an ambassadorship. Then the White House starts with a very mundane task, which they assign to that person. They ask them to go on the White House website and fill out a job application.
Huh.
So everybody starts with that job application, which is a long and laborious process, but that's only the beginning of a process. Each ambassador also is subjected, or each ambassadorial candidate is subjected to a detailed and rigorous security background investigation by the FBI. That's a full field investigation, as they call it.
So they come and ask you questions about your background?
They ask you questions, but they ask a lot of other people about you too, including your neighbors, your business associates, and anyone who might have any information that would be relevant to your suitability for a posting that has to have the confidence of the president and the trust of the American people. So once you are going through that process, you're also involved in a complicated financial disclosure process, which is for every senior appointee in the U.S. government, there's something called the Financial Disclosure Statement. And that's a list of your financial holdings, your real estate, your stocks, your bonds, your company directorships. And the purpose of that is to prevent any appearance or any actual conflict of interest that might appear as you take on a major post in the U.S. government. If you're dealing, for example, with defense contractors, then the government or the administration will take a close look at your stock holdings in those companies and any associations you might have with them, for example.
So you get through this whole lengthy process, and then what happens? Are you ready to go, or
No.
more steps?
Then you have another step. Then you meet with the key congressional committees, key congressional chairman of the subcommittee that relates to the geographic area that follows your post, and that would be Europe in this case. And then each ambassador, be that ambassador a career ambassador or drawn from our career service or drawn from the private sector, each ambassador has a hearing, a formal hearing with the congressional subcommittee, and then that committee refers their recommendation to the full Senate Foreign Relations Committee, which also has to approve it, and that committee then refers its recommendation to the full Senate. Every ambassador has to be approved in the process called advise and consent for the posting. And so all of us, all ambassadors go through that process.
Well, it takes quite a while then.
It takes some time and it takes some focus on, in detail on your financial holdings, your prior associations and so forth, and everybody gets a thorough examination.
I know some people get a little confused about the American system because we have sometimes career diplomats becoming ambassadors and then occasionally people coming from the private sector. Can you talk about that a little bit?
All of our ambassadors, all United States ambassadors are appointed by the president. However, about 30% of our ambassadors come from outside the U.S. government, while the other 70% are career foreign service officers or career members of the government. Now, the president chooses all of these, but when the administration changes, the 30% of political appointees, as we call them, normally changes. So now we're in the process, the president is in the process of selecting people for places like London.
So what should we think about some of these names we've been seeing pop up in the UK and the American press about potential appointments to be ambassador?
Well, of course, it's mere speculation at this point. Until the president makes a formal announcement of his nominee, then anything you read is in the realm of rumor. And so when he makes that nomination, he'll make it formally as a White House statement, and then we'll have an idea of who his selection is.
Thanks, Richard. That was really useful. I think I understand a little bit better now how the process works. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.